Coming up on the CHGO Cubs podcast, Cubs brass says they need to exceed projections to have a special season in 2025. So who's the most likely player to do it? We'll give you our odds. Plus, Dansby Swanson gets some national love. We've got the need to exceed. CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? Coming at you live on this Sunnyside Thursday. This is the CHGO Cubs Podcast. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders. Yes, it is Thursday, January 23rd. It is a Sunnyside Thursday. Still pretty cold, Cody, I got to tell you. Still pretty cold out there, but we're warming you up with our baseball thoughts. And
nothing's more Midwest, though, when you can tell the difference between, like, 7 degrees and 22 degrees.
There's a difference, isn't it?
You can tell the difference.
Jay Zawoski was saying, though, that he thought today felt the coldest. It is windy, which that can skew it a little bit, but anytime there's sun, it feels better to me. Just a little bit better. We're going to talk about the newest member of the Cubs. We're going to talk about exceeding projections because that seems to be the theme of the offseason. Hey, the only way we're making the playoffs, special seasons. Guys have to exceed their projections. So we're going to play Vegas. We're going to play Circa Sportsbook, and we're putting out our odds for who we think might exceed projections in this Cubs season coming up. And we'll talk about Dansby Swanson, who's getting all kinds of love. Does he deserve it? Maybe, maybe not. And we're going to hear from Dansby Swanson, who spoke at Cubs Convention. We got some of that sound coming up in just a bit. You want to start with the new guy, the new Mr. Berti?
John Berti?
Yeah. Does that make your hair stand up a little bit? Does that get you excited? Are they done now? Is that enough for backup?
Why are you always trying to trigger me?
I'm not. You just know that there's a possibility I could be.
A little bit
Cody,
on it.
Honestly, I think you just take things way too personally. And I think that's something we should work on in 2025.
Here's what I'm trying to do.
What is the reason I go to therapy, Sean?
You're on a podcast about the Cubs. The Cubs signed John Berti. Why does it have to be Luke
Cody
tearing you down?
Cody can see the twinkle in my eye. But what all I'm trying to do is just pull the best out of Cody Delmendo.
I've been doing this show for 3 years with this guy, and he's like, are the Cubs done? Is this going to put them over? Like, Luke, we know objectively that this isn't going to do anything. Well, it helps, but it's not like a needle mover. We know this. Luke knows this. He's just trying to get me all riled up. That's the point of what I'm saying.
A riled up Cody is a good Cody, usually.
I don't know about that. I think a lot of people would disagree. Okay, so John Berti played like 25 games last season. But before last season, he was a 2-WAR player each of the 2 years prior. He can play all across the infield, can play a little outfield too. Is he the insurance policy for Matt Shaw at third base? I'm not sure, but he's certainly better than Brujan or...
Is he better than Brujan and Workman?
I do think so, yes.
Okay.
At least there's some recent success there.
So that's the competition that's going on.
Yeah. Did they sign him? It wasn't a minor league deal.
No, it sounds like it's a major league deal.
Okay. So like, yeah, he's maybe he is that insurance policy, but I still think he's more so of a bench player than anything. And like they said at Cubs Convention, bench bat is what bench is what they're trying to fill out right now.
This might be their answer to that.
He might not be the Matt Shaw insurance policy fully. Like he can do some third base, but the fact that he can play all over the infield certainly makes me feel better about the bench and the, just what he can bring to the team. So there is recent success. Is he gonna? Does it really move the needle a ton? In my opinion, no. But these small moves like this, sometimes we always look back in 3 months and we're like, wow, like that was a good move by Jed.
Yeah, like who's going to be their Tauchman? No, not necessarily, but who's going to be? Well, I mean, Tauchman is a sort of a similar story. That's how we yesterday morphed into today's show, exceeding projections, because we didn't expect that out of Mike Tauchman necessarily. We knew the player. We knew he was from here. We knew we went to Frem, but we didn't expect him to have a couple of years where at a point he was the best offensive player on the team. And there was a point where he was winning games against the Cardinals in dramatic and White Sox in dramatic fashion.
Right.
Don't know if I expected either one of them.
I'm not exactly sure why he only played 25 games last year. I'm assuming it was because of an injury.
Mm-hmm.
He was with the Yankees last year. Will be 35 this season. Like, he's clear, veteran, presence, guy off the bench.
Master Boney.
I think he gives you, as the president of the Miles Mastroboni fan club, I think he gives you a higher ceiling than Miles Mastroboni.
Well, hopefully because they let Mastroboni go and this guy's replaced him. So you don't want to go lower.
After 17 games in 2024, he hit 273, but then he suffered a strained left calf. He was placed on the injured list.
There it is.
On June 12th, and then he was activated September 9th.
Okay.
So missed from June 12th to September 9th.
So, yeah, it was an injury.
So
and
he's
I assumed
healthy.
it was. I wasn't completely sure. But, you know, throughout his career, he's got a below-average K rate. He's been a league-average bat. He had a 101 WRC plus in 23. I just think for your bench, like, it's fine.
Right.
Like, and that's the only way. That's the only reason that I'm fine with the deal and that I like it. Like, he's never, throughout his entire career, that's basically what he's been. And his best years were with the Marlins, and there's like you know how the Marlins operate. So now you put him into this fold, which objectively compared to the Marlins is a better fold. Maybe I'm not saying he's going to exceed projections, but maybe he performs better than what we think. Can he be the other version of Mike Tauchman? Can he be a Chris Coughlin type?
Oh,
like, I don't know. Like, I hope so.
The live YouTube chat, not super excited about it.
And I don't think it's something.
But that's okay. That's okay. It's still a move this offseason. By the way, the best way to enjoy the CHGO experience is to subscribe to that YouTube page for CHGO Sports, which hit 75 grand, right? We hit 75 grand yesterday.
Recently, yeah.
And we also have the big limited time Die Hard deal going right now, which is, you know, if you really want to be a sicko, sign up. You get the Die Hard card. Right now it's $48 for 1 year, limited time. It's $4 a month, billed annually. Right now, that's the deal. And so, I mean, and it's 40% off, and it saves you $30 from what you normally would pay for a Die Hard membership. So a great time to sign up to be a Die Hard.
Now, before, just related to like Berti defensively, if you go on Fangraphs,
can he play first?
He has played all three outfield positions.
Okay.
Throughout his career. He has played some shortstop, he's played some third base, and he's played second base. He has not played any first base.
Oh, boy.
All right. But, again, I think the defensive versatility for someone like him who has he's played a lot of innings in the outfield, he's played a lot of innings at third base. And second base as well. Like, he looks like a guy that, again, you can insert on any given day to spell a guy or, you know, just be something. And I don't know what to really expect, but again, as the president of the Miles Mastroboni fan club, I think I can confidently say that he will provide the Cubs more production than Miles Mastroboni did.
Provides a little insurance. In case you have a rash of injuries, spring training, all those things.
He would have to really fall off if he doesn't do that. Or Miles Mastroboni goes to Seattle and really figures it out, which I'll be rooting for. But, you know.
We root for any ex-Cub. Not any.
Not any.
No, we don't.
Contreras exists.
Well, also, just since I'm here, I don't think any of us want to see Nick Madrigal succeed.
That's not true. Very nice guy. Very nice guy.
Should we talk about it? I actually don't know anything about him personally. I just don't like him.
We sat down at Cubs convention last year, and he couldn't have been more gracious with his time. And even Steven threw a little jab on the way out when he said, "Bro, you look bigger." And he's like, "I've been working out. Thanks. I appreciate that." And then as he walked out the door, Steven said quietly, but to his face, "Oh, Nicky 2 homers this year?" Wow.
Did he hit 2 homers?
And I never saw him again.
No.
I never saw him again.
I don't think he hit any homers.
Okay.
It was something to that extent. "Oh, Nicky 3 homers?" And he was like, he kind of laughed. He's like, "Oh, we'll see."
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that wasn't very nice. He just gave us 30 minutes of his time.
First of all, that's why Steven is my favorite. Nick Madrigal did hit 0 home runs in 2024. And whenever he wound up to throw from third base, I always heard like the cartoon like scattering noise or like scampering noise.
Yeah.
You mean like when you have a wind-up toy and it makes that little crank, crank, crank noise?
Do you bring up? Did he sign with the team? Like, is this why we're bringing him up? Or
I
you just
Hate him.
okay,
Dislike him.
I mean,
Hate's a little too strong.
Hate's strong.
Dislike.
Right. See, now I said that yesterday. I don't hate the Dodgers, but I do loathe them. We have enough hate in this world.
I think to Sean's point, though, like, will he provide more value than Nick Madrigal or Miles Mastroboni? I think so.
It's all you need.
I think that
Upgrade.
I think we can put that fair expectation that he will be better than those two.
Well, then I'm fine with it.
That's fine.
Then I'm fine with it. Hey, make sure you hit the like button for this show. We'd appreciate it. Thanks, Sean. We were thinking the same thing. 58 watching, 8 likes right now in the middle of the afternoon.
Speaking of Cubs and White Sox legends,
they
also signed Reese McGuire, backup catcher,
who
I believe will to like a minor league deal. You just do a Google search of the guy. Everyone knows. I'm not going to bring it up, but you can Google the guy and you get a nice laugh. Yes. I just think he's minor league depth. I don't see how he's going to be on the Cubs on opening day.
Berti?
No, Reese McGuire.
Listen, I'm back to the infield thing and the backup third baseman utility guy. I was just sitting here because Cole Kmet left right before. As I was getting in, Cole Kmet was getting ready to leave. And by the way, I did throw out to him, "Hey, we'd like to have you on the old show. Bring your coach. We'll talk a little Cubs baseball. What do you think?" He's like, I like it. So we'll see.
He didn't say no.
No, but what made me think of Cole at the beginning was this. I always say this feels like that one year where the Bears had 11 tight ends but didn't have a tight end yet.
I don't think we're
right. It was every day they were signing a tight end, and it does feel like we're kind of. I can't even name all the guys we've signed that are utility infielders because it's just every other day. But Berti, you think is near the top of that list?
I guess the thing is that I get what you're saying, but like Luis Vasquez is a guy that they've had come up through the system. I don't know his role. I don't know if he'll be on the team, but you have him. Gage Workman, you picked up in the Rule 5. I felt really bad.
He was on a panel at Cubs convention.
Yeah, I felt really bad that he had to sit next to Kyle Tucker and then not get any questions from the fans because no one knew who he was. But
he gave pretty good answers though when Coomer would give him. It's like he
likes country music.
Yeah, he does. I heard that.
And I like country music, so I was like, okay, we relate to something. But like, I don't know if he will be like the rule for Rule 5. You take a guy if you can't send him to Iowa. He has to be on your team on opening day. I don't know how the
He
Cubs,
seems to have more power than some of the other guys.
Like,
so that's
do they view him as a Patrick Wisdom type, a guy off the bench who has some power but strikes out a ton? Like, is that it, or
may not have the plus power but might be better at the other stuff?
Sure. I'm not sure if he will be on the team opening day.
Okay.
That's how I kind of view it, but then you have Bruhan, who came in the Mervis trade, who I think provides a lot.
Or as we call him, Brouhaha.
He provides a lot of speed. Like I think that we will have an understanding of a lot of this. Honestly, before I would not be surprised if we have a lot more understanding of this before they even go to Japan.
You would hope so.
But I think Berti,
you would hope so.
I think Berti for sure leads in terms of being in one of those roles that those guys.
He's the favorite.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to talk about Dansby's love and those rankings. And we're going to talk about exceeding projections and give our odds in just a second. But we do want to tell you about some of our great sponsors. Right On Optics. No matter what outdoor activities you prefer, it's always important to have the best view. Right On Optics offers a full range of optics products so you can see clearly. Everybody can use a good pair of binoculars out there. Better views of your kid's sporting event. You know, you're not going to sit too close. Or you bring them to the ballpark. You're stuck in the cheap seats. Maybe you're stuck in the bleachers with the Friday 120 Club. You can see everything at home plate if you want to. Or you can look across to the upper deck and look for your friend that's sitting there. Right On offers higher performance at a lower price. Perfect balance of performance and value. They won't break the bank. Right On Optics, been around for over a decade. Every product receives a full quality control inspection. The Right On Promise, the unlimited lifetime warranty, not only covers defects, but also accidental damage from drops, because I drop everything. Thank you. Get a better look at everything. Quality products you know you can trust. Check out the full line of Right On products today at rightonoptics.com/CHGO. That's RITON optics.com/CHGO. And for the best way to start 2025, head to Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Shop, the Start Something New sales event, to score some of the New Year's best savings on new vehicles. Hurry in today to browse their huge inventory of new vehicles right now. Get 0% financing on all new 2024 Jeep models, or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car shopping journey. With Ray's Price Promise, the numbers you're hearing now are the same prices you can expect to hear in store or see online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, check out the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake for more information. Visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963. 0% financing on all new 2024 Jeep models and 125 vehicles priced under $20K. Can't go wrong. So the Shredder's been putting out these lists, and every once in a while we talk about it because some of them are
the Shredder. What is that?
An MLB Shredder, they like to call it.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah. MLB Network puts out their best at each position. Then they put out a fan list too, right? And we've talked about some of them seem like they've been spot on. Some are a little crazy. Yes, Sean?
Well, I would just say the Shredder is bait. If you want to be completely honest, it's a no-name fake person that I think they put together to get people to...
They call it clickbait.
Engage on social media. You've never seen the Shredder before. It's like the banker in Deal or No Deal. There isn't an actor playing him because he isn't real. Did you see the...
In our case, ours is. He's brags. No.
Did you see the American League, or was it just relief pitcher in general, top 10 from the Shredder?
No.
So Emmanuel Clase, who finished third in American Cy Young voting,
I saw this one,
was the second best relief pitcher on his own team.
Come on.
Cade Smith, who has pitched for a single year,
versus
Emmanuel Clase with a massive career. You have Cade Smith is the second best reliever in all of baseball. And Emmanuel Clase, not at third or even first, like fourth.
So right out of the gate, Sean doesn't like the Shredder. When I first saw it, I thought they were just like referring to me because of the abs and stuff, like Shredder, and I was like, listen,
they also had
it's
Mason
more of a dad
Miller
bod.
way too low on that list too, I thought.
So shortstop. Shortstop is out. That's the latest one. There are some things on there that are absurd. First off, right? Gunnar Henderson, number 1. Okay, if you want to argue that, but it goes Henderson, Seager, Lindor, Bobby Witt Jr., Mookie Betts, number 6, Dansby Swanson. Now that is going to enrage the people that think Dansby is overpaid.
Yeah, well, someone told me on Twitter today that he's been a bust, which is objectively wrong. But
on this list, he is ahead of Carlos Correa. Much more expensive, much more wanted by a lot of fans, and by the way, the same F war.
Same Fangraphs war, yeah.
Same Fangraphs war. Correa. Listen, I think this list is way off. If I had to do one, I would put Bobby Witt Jr. at the top. That wouldn't, like, that's no offense to, there's some great shortstops in baseball. Bobby Witt Jr. had a 10.4 F WAR, a 168 WRC plus. That puts him in the top in both categories. How is he not the best shortstop? If you had to pick one player to start a team right now, wouldn't he be the first pick by a lot of people?
Again, Luke, I'm going to refer to how we started this conversation. It's bait. They want.
Or are you saying shredder because they should just shred this list because it's garbage?
There you go. I don't think that's bad as well.
Knocked my right on.
Destroy the right on optics. I bet they.
No, they dropped optics. They that's right. You
that
drop
was actually
they got you.
Me probably just bashing
Son of a
fairly advertiser. But no, it's bait to get the Royals fans to engage. Do you guys remember in 16 and 17 when the Royals voted the entire starting lineup as all-stars? Like, they know that Kansas City fans are going to back their guy. They obviously think Bobby Witt Jr. is the best shortstop in all of Major League Baseball. So put him forth so that they'll scream and yell at you to get engagement. There's no way this is.
Well, there's nothing else to do in Kansas City right now.
I would say Gunnar Henderson's top 3, but
yeah,
Bobby Witt deserves to be number 1.
I would go Witt, Lindor, Henderson. I mean, Betts plays all over the place. That's the tricky part there. Does Dansby deserve to be 6 is the question. Like, I think there's some interchangeable guys on there. Does Dansby deserve to be ahead of Willie Adames, Ellie De La Cruz, Trey Turner, who didn't have a...
I think Ellie De La Cruz deserves to be higher than him. But Willie Adames defensively sucks. But his offense is significantly better than Dansby.
Dansby has by far the lowest WRC plus in the list. Okay, FWAR, he is not the lowest. That would be Trey Turner last season. But Trey Turner's a heck of a player. If you gave me the option between Trey Turner at the same contract as Dansby Swanson, who would you take right now?
Well, I would. You can objectively say that Trey Turner is a better hitter than Dansby Swanson, but you can objectively say Swanson's a better defensive player than Trey Turner.
And which do you value more?
Depends on who's on your team.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Cubs could use the offense.
We have done a lot of I think how do I say this a third time? We have done a lot of criticizing Dansby objectively when it comes to offense, but also trying to live in reality when you just look at his baseball card and objectively look at it and see that he has never been some powerhouse hitter.
No.
But he has always been one of the best defensive players at that position. So, does Fangraphs WAR value defense a lot? Yes, and that's why his WAR is high, and that's why James Kolstack in the chat always yells at us about it.
Yeah, he has a higher FWAR, Dansby, than Trey Turner, 4.3 to 3.9.
But I think you can also say that you got to factor in base running. You got to factor in, it's not like he's a below average hitter. He is at least a average hitter as far as WRC plus. So I'm not saying he's 6. I think he's a little too high. But I do think he belongs in the top 10.
Is he better than Willie Adames? Overall player? It's tough. Like, so then I looked up, I'm like, we said, defensively.
Didn't Adames get the same contract as Dansby Swanson?
Pretty
basically?
Close, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Who would you rather have right now going into next season? He's going to go to San Francisco and play in that ballpark. Who will have better numbers?
You're asking me what the team needs, and so I probably would say Willie Adames because he's going to provide you higher numbers for home runs, and I still think this team needs that. But when you're asking defensive rankings, then I went through Fangraphs. I was looking through rankings in all of baseball. All the players out there last year, Dansby was ranked number 6 as a defensive player, highest rated shortstop. That was not even close. Best rated defensive shortstop. He in all of baseball, if you're ranking the defensive players, Dansby was number 6 overall. Witt was number 7. Lindor number 8. De La Cruz number 9. Shortstop. It's a loaded position. We get that. Does it feel like 6 might be a little optimistic? A little kind? Maybe.
Again,
I think there's at least 6 shortstops that I would take before Dansby, but I'm not on the same page with Cubs fans that think he's a bust and has been the worst.
Of the guys that are below Dansby Swanson on this list, Eloy De La Cruz is the only one that I would probably take over Dansby as an overall player. Trey Turner, sure. So as far as overall value, Dansby Swanson has been better than the 4 below him. That's just the facts.
Including Correa.
Yeah.
Which before they signed, those contracts came up and all the shortstops were available, boy, that was not a popular thought to say Dansby was a better ranked player.
But it's not Dansby Swanson's fault that the Cubs aren't hitting more home runs. If you just look at his baseball card, he's had a couple 20 home run seasons in his career. That's on Jed and Carter for not getting more power on the team.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that he has done everything that he has been asked to do. Outside of those 3 months where he just was really bad offensively, which you can make an argument that he was hurt last year.
He was hurt. In fact, we're going to hear from him talking about it when we get to the next segment.
But as far as outs above average, he led all shortstops. He was top 5 in defensive runs saved. Is, like you said, overall defense for the position, he was number 1. It's not like he gives you nothing offensively. You need him to be a 110 to 120 WRC plus player for me, along with that defense, for him to be considered in the top 6, I guess. But he had objectively, he had, in my opinion, he had a down year last year. That's why I don't think he should be 6, but I still think he belongs in the top 10. He's probably more towards.
But you could say the same thing about Trey Turner too.
Sure, but I just think that of the guys that were below him on that list, I'd probably take Eloy De La Cruz. And is that because of youth? Sure, but he also has shown that he can be a 5-tool player. Like, he's good defensively and he has a bat. Does he strike out a lot? Yeah, but man, that guy can hit some tanks. And man, can he do it all? Like, he steals a lot of bases.
And everybody loves the long ball.
Sure.
Listen, Dansby is spectacular at shortstop. If you don't believe that, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. He's a spectacular defensive shortstop. He's not as good as some of those guys in hitting, and the league has kind of gone hitting heavy. The Cubs have gone stacked up defensively. That's just the way it's gone. Like, they're trying to find an edge that they have. I said yesterday, would it be crazy if they had 3 Gold Glovers in the outfield next year? No, it actually would not. Would it be crazy if you went left, center, right, short, second? I mean, 5 positions. I'd be shocked if the Cubs don't have at least 3 Gold Glovers out of that group.
Yeah.
Right? But it very easily could be 4 or 5.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
If everybody stays healthy and they play the way they have played.
And their defense sets up really well for their rotation that doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, right? And and I think that's why I put so much value into Swanson's defense. If they were getting more strikeouts out of the rotation, then I probably wouldn't put so much into Swanson's defense being a major factor, but this is just the fact of the matter.
I don't put that much value into a guy's defense when he's sort of good or above average. When he's 1 of 1, you have to take that into consideration. If he's 1 of 1 and he's at least average or above average at the offensive part of the game, you've got to factor that in, right? Like if it was just somebody that was good defensively but couldn't hit a $150, that's a different story. That's not the player we're talking about.
Right. Now, here's a thought, and I think many will probably disagree because he was so beloved, but can you objectively say, as an offensive hitter, Dansby Swanson can be a little like Javi Baez was outside of 2018 when he was runner-up?
As in streaky?
Yes, he's a streaky offensive hitter.
I think the Cubs have a lot of those guys. I think for some reason Ian Happ can be that guy sometimes.
Sure. That's not that question I'm asking.
Yes.
But as far as
the answer is yes.
As far as the position, the player, when you talk about Dansby Swanson as an offensive hitter, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Javi Baez outside of the fact that he doesn't strike out 30% of his plate appearances. And I don't think he has the kind of power that Javi Baez has. But as an overall hitter, he can go on stretches where he can be one of the best hitters in the lineup.
And he's better defensively, too.
But he can also go through some cold stretches, too. He is a streaky hitter, and I feel like that's what Javi Baez was. I'm not saying they're completely the same, but they both were streaky hitters, but they were both awesome defensively.
Right. And if I want two things out of Dansby Swanson this season, one, it is more stability, less streaks, right? And more power.
Yeah.
Those are the two things. We're going to hear from Dansby Swanson next on his offseason surgery. Plus, who's the most likely on this team to exceed projections? But first, a word from our sponsors. Saturday Neon.
Ooh, buddy.
Started by two college friends, Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, bar, or podcasting set. Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75. No better way to represent your favorite team or Big Ten team. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break, they won't shatter, and they still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and love. LEDs last up to 100,000 hours. Leave that baby on for a long time, and you'll have it for a long time. Super easy to install. Use the provided hardware, and they also are low voltage. They don't get hot, so they are safe to the touch. Perfect for pets and kids. They're also the perfect gift for this upcoming Valentine's Day. What says love more than a low voltage sign from Saturday Neon, huh?
Hell yeah.
Hello. CHGO has used Saturday Neon to decorate our set. They look great. Use the code CHGO for 10% off your order at SaturdayNeon.com. Hey, baby, check out my neon sign.
Yes.
Love.
The one behind us here on set is pretty sick. I like it. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. Illinois, Maryland tonight in Champaign. Illinois coming off a incredibly frustrating loss. The guys in stripes in East Lansing, Michigan deserve to be in jail.
Get in the car. Go, Cody.
But tonight is the night that you could go to Champaign and watch Illinois bounce back because not only are they a fun team, but also the tickets are pretty cheap because of Game Time.
$14 yesterday when I looked at it. I thought, man, this is what Cody needs.
Let me tell you, the 200 level in State Farm Center, there's no bad seat.
The gas will cost you more than the tickets.
You're in this economy, you are correct. So, that's an option. You got Bulls Blackhawks games left. We got Wrigley Field. I always talk about getting on the red line, getting on to Game Time as soon as I get off the train. There's all kinds of things you can do with Game Time. But yeah, Illinois, Maryland tonight, probably the prime game in college hoops tonight as well. So get your tickets on Game Time because, $14 you said?
$14 is what I saw yesterday.
That's an incredible deal, my friend. All right. They have like I said, they have the Game Time Picks, which makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. I'm missing other things. But they have all-in pricing. The toggling this feature shows up the total. It shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. I know how you hate a bait and switch, Luke.
I do.
You really do. I also do as well. They got seat views in the app, it's a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. And they have the lowest price guarantee. Your Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Illinois better win tonight. I'm going to be pissed.
If you think Cody's in a bad mood today, wait till you see him if the Illini lose tonight. Not good. A lot of people commenting on Dansby Swanson. Godfather says Swanson's overrated. On a great team, he would be okay. Andrew says the issue with Swanson is the dollar figure. Everyone knows his defensive capabilities. $177 million for an average to below average hitter is a lot.
Well,
I would just say, listen, on a great team, he would be an okay hitter. He would not be an okay shortstop. Defensively, he'd be a spectacular shortstop. He's one of one.
What did he make last year, though? He made like $25 million last year?
I mean, $177 million, it's a lot of money, but that is what shortstops are making.
Well, the next 3 years, I think it's $28 million. The last 2 years, it goes down, so it'll go reverse. The opposite of Trey Turner, who's making $27 million from every single, I think it's 11-year contract.
The same every year.
$27 million for 11 years. So the one thing, though, with Swanson saying Swanson overrated on a great team, he would be okay. Like, that's the whole point of free agency. You do overpay for older veteran players, and it's the GM's fault for, again, the whole topic of this podcast, that this team needs to exceed expectations to help Dansby Swanson. Like, it's the issue of the entire team build, because Swanson, in a complete bubble and vacuum, is a fine signing. That $177 million should not matter to fans, because you have, a top 10 attendance every single year.
Thank you. He is a good baseball player. He is a good baseball player. You can't argue anything else.
He is, if he has a great offensive year, he's a top 5 shortstop. If he has a bad offensive year, he's a top 10 shortstop. Like, it's a pretty good problem to have.
And, all right. And for what it's worth, for all you nerds out there, and I'm not one of them, but I do think
I'm a nerd, so I'm listening.
Well, as far as like stats and stuff. If you go on to Fangraphs and you go to leaderboard and you switch it to primary position and change it, or go to primary position and put shortstop, if you scroll over, and this is when you go to the leaderboard for fielding, all right? If you go to the value section, there's a stat called dollars. And it's like money based off value that you deserve, that you're worth. And they have Swanson worth $34 million last season. He made 25 this year?
Bargain.
So,
he's a deal.
Again, it's all about how you view him, and just acknowledge the fact of the type of player that he is. Anyone who thought he was going to be more offensively for this team when they signed him, you set yourself up to be mad.
All right, let's hear from Dansby at Cubs convention, because one of the things that was certainly a factor, we believe, last year had to be the injury. He had off-season surgery. We didn't know it was coming. I thought it was mostly the knee, but then he had surgery on the core. Let's hear Dansby Swanson at Cubs convention. Don't worry about it. We had a little technical difficulty. Basically, he was talking about the surgery. He said, the decision was made moving forward. I feel good. And he's ready to go. And then the follow-up question was, did it impact your offense, right? And he said, well, I think anybody would say injuries impacted their season, but nobody's going to go out and make that excuse. And it was his decision to continue to play. Now, you've always made the point that in addition to that could have been bothering him all season, the knee or whatnot. But at the end of the season, he still had this core injury, and he was really good at the end of the season, right? He was better.
Yeah, we talked about this whole Swanson injury thing after the GM meetings, right? And we all learned that he had this surgery. Like, no one knew about it.
Right.
Like, even
we knew about the knee injury.
Right, but we did not know about this core thing. Now, you want me to sit up here and criticize Swanson a little bit? Like, I've said this multiple times. Like, when he tries to play through things, it's admirable, right? I respect it.
I do too.
Right? But
but now when it hurts the team, if that's what's happening.
Those 3 months last season hurt the team. Now, is there someone they could have inserted in his position that would have been able to carry them a little bit? I don't know. Probably not, based off
Nico
how they were
also
operating.
had injuries. You're probably moving Nico over, but then who's going to play second? Right. Were you going to get that better production out of Nico and Masterboni, Nico and Madrigal than you were Dan?
I don't know. Probably not.
I would say no.
But yeah, like that's probably my biggest criticism of Dansby in his 2 years, is that it just feels like sometimes he doesn't take a seat when he should take a seat. Like, we all know he wants to play every day. We all know he does, right?
He respects 90, Eva Wax. That's right. He does.
Yes. And again, I respect it a ton because, I've talked to other guys, and like, for instance, I brought this up months ago when I met Ethan Roberts at Club 400, and I was talking to him about how much do guys respect others for playing through stuff and stuff like that. And he straight up told me is like that you get more respect from in the clubhouse if you try and play through things like that. And like that's not like some earth-shattering. Yeah, it's no revelation. It's no earth-shattering thing, but I can understand from a pride standpoint and from a mentality standpoint that you want to do that. But yeah, it's just like this core thing is just so like interesting to me because it's like no one knew about, like the Cubs didn't even know about this.
It's only 2 minutes. Do we have it, Sean?
Do you trust me enough to try it again?
Let's try it one more time.
Okay.
It's only 2 minutes because I still want to get to the exceeding projection stuff.
I really screwed or pissed off Barb in the chat. So
all right, Barb, here it comes. We're going to shot number 2. This is it.
Here's Dansby Swanson on being injured.
How would you just describe what your off-season's been like, post-surgery, and just the rehab process?
0 for 2, just like Dansby some days.
Perfect.
But that happens.
That's great.
0 for 2 sometimes. Don't worry about it, Sean. It's not that important. It's not that important. We're going right on to exceeding.
I'm just more mad because
now you want it to happen.
I do not. I just asked Sarah directly, how do I do this? And then it happened, and then it
didn't work
again. So we just played it on the other computer. There's sound perfectly fine on the other one.
That's no different than somebody going into the game and saying, how should I approach this pitcher the second time around? They give you advice. It doesn't work. You strike out again. You're 0 for 2. Right. But don't worry. Before the show's over, you're still going to have a chance to come through for our team.
Okay, and now the chat's saying that we had sound. So I actually just hit the ball and played.
They did it.
And didn't run it out at all.
You didn't respect 90.
No, I didn't. I started throwing a fit.
Well, if you want to play
it,
go ahead then.
Luke, your call. You're the captain here.
Why are we not hearing it?
I have no idea. Luke,
did you have sound both times?
I might have muted the TV. So hold on here. You.
All right. Well, we're going to talk for one more second. Stucky, please take him to Chili's after the show. Barb says Kevin is doing his best. Kevin's not even here.
It's right. Sean.
This is it. This is Sean's last chance. If he goes 0 for 3, if he goes 0 for 3, there is a pinch hitter next time around.
All right.
Dansby Swanson on his core surgery.
Coming up. Just describe what your off-season's been like, post-surgery, and just the rehab process.
It's been pretty chill, pretty straightforward. Obviously, biggest thing being able to get healthy and just kind of build into spring training how I would like. So overall, it's been a good one.
At what point during the season did you realize or think like you might need surgery after the season ended?
I've been dealing with this for a pretty long time. I'd say over a year, probably like a season and a half worth. Wasn't quite sure what it was in the beginning. That's why I wasn't, didn't do surgery and things like that. Did a bunch of rehab things, but got to the point where it felt like this was going to be necessary and it's going to be something that could kind of, get me back to where I want to be. So the decision was made, and now we're moving forward.
How much do you think it affected your ability to produce?
I think it always does, right? Like, no one's going to give excuses for this, that, and the other. It was obviously my choice to play and to play through things, and we all do, right? Throughout the year, I think you see guys all the time at the end of the year, I didn't realize you were dealing with that. And, so no one makes excuses about it, but obviously when you're not healthy, it affects things, and it's our job to obviously figure out how to still be a productive player, in different ways.
So. Now that the surgery is done and you're feeling much better, how much are you just looking forward to being healthy and being ready for the season?
It's nice to feel like yourself again, right? It's nice to kind of give you a little bit of a reset, right? Getting a procedure done gives you an opportunity to kind of like get reset, refocus on the things that you need to do in order to be healthy and stay healthy. So, that's kind of what our processes look like most of this year.
You can hit the ground running spring training?
That's the plan, yeah. Like I said, feeling pretty good. Just kind of taking each day and doing what I need to do in order to be ready. I'm not concerned or worried about having to, take time off or do anything different in spring training. Obviously, it's a little bit of a different ramp up than in years past because of the series in Japan. But I knew that going into the procedure and everything as well. So just excited to be able to get back out there and start doing some things.
Dansby Swanson and Tim Stebbins having a hair showdown on that one.
Yeah, I like Barb's comment. Who's the guy next to him with crazy hair?
He's been on our show.
I'm gonna have to send him a text and be like, "Hey, some 85-year-old lady in our YouTube chat says you have crazy hair.
Right. So, all right, we're talking about the theme of the show is exceeding projections. The Cubs say they've got to have multiple players exceed projections for the Cubs to have a special season in 2025 or any season for that matter. So we thought, which players are the most likely to exceed their projections? And, we can make odds just like Vegas can make odds. So we're putting out our odds. You did it. I did it. Patrick did it for us. I'll tell you what, my list I put together, I already missed one, and I should have put Dansby Swanson near the top, in my opinion, because I think he is a guy who could easily exceed projections next year. Just based on, you have to factor in what the projections are. So it's very similar to asking, is a guy overrated? Overrated depends on how highly people, if nobody's talking about him, then he's not overrated. But these are the projections for what's being predicted for what they would do. Now, the zips for him next year, 4.9 FWAR, 18 homers. If Dansby's healthy, he's going to hit more than 18 homers.
I think so.
So I'm saying, yes, he did have surgery. He's at an off-season to recover. If he recovers and he's healthy, I think he exceeds those projections. Do you want me to do my whole list?
No,
or do you want to do yours first?
We should just go one by one.
All right, let's do yours first.
All right. My first one's Pete Crow-Armstrong. I have him at,
excuse me.
I have him at minus 200 to exceed.
Don't worry
what
about that.
Steamer projects him to be. All right. All mine are based off Steamer, and I think you can also tell that I'm a degenerate gambler and Luke isn't, based off the odds. So
I thought you could have minus 100, but you can't.
It's plus 100.
Yeah, I know that.
Even money.
Right, I know
minus
that.
Minus 110.
Sean corrected me.
No, right. Like I saw his list and
Sean
I said,
corrected
I'm going
me.
to have to fix that, so why don't you just fix it right now?
Yeah. Okay, so Steamer has PCA to finish 2025 with a 2.5 Fangraphs WAR with a 97 WRC plus, 244 batting average, 299 on base percentage, and a 405 slug, a 304 weighted on base average. Strikes out 25% of his play appearances, hits 15 homers, steals 27 bases, and has 61 RBIs. I have a minus 200. Maybe it's because I'm bullish. Maybe I'm like, he's the one guy on the team that I feel really good about going into 25. Because in 24, he basically did a lot of this already, and he only hit in August and most of September.
That's right.
So if you get a full season of basically somewhat in between of August and September PCA next season, if you get that for 162 or even 150 games, I think he can easily be a 4-WAR player, right? I think 27 stolen bases. I think this guy could easily steal 40 or 50, honestly.
I'm with you. He's in my top 3 for sure.
I just, again, based off a lot of these numbers that they're projecting, I feel like he could outperform all that. I don't know if he's going to be the one of the highest WAR players on the team, but I personally expect better than 244, 299, 405 slash line. I do expect more than that. And, the one thing that I do kind of like, they have 15 homers. I can agree with 15 homers. I can agree with that. I expect more stolen bases, and I expect a better slash line. 97 WRC plus, I'm hoping for 110, 120, somewhere in that range.
And that's because we believe the second half of the season is more the future of PCA than the first half of the season was for PCA, right?
Now the reason that it's only minus 200 for me is because, sure, that's only 2 months, and he could certainly be something more like this. But like I said, I'm more optimistic of any young player they have. He's the one I'm most optimistic about. Going to be 23 this coming season. You saw him take gradual steps forward as a player towards the end of last year. He knows he's going to be the starting center fielder going into opening day. He's going to be one of the best defensive outfielders in all of baseball next season. To me, there is no doubt about that. And that alone, I think, can be the reason that he exceeds a 2.5 Fangraphs WAR. All right. So
But even Craig Counsell said, not a finished product.
Yes.
We're trying to get him there. He's a young player. We want him to get to that point. That's why he doesn't believe he'll be the leadoff man, although he could be someday. Why he wouldn't be on opening day the leadoff guy for the Cubs, because they want him to be a finished product. They want him to be the player that they envision in the future, but they also know that young players need time, and they go through bigger swings, ups and downs a lot of times than other players or veteran players might. So I agree with you. He's worth if you're going by our odds, he's worth throwing a few bucks down on.
Yeah. Steamer also has him as a 704 OPS for next season, which fine. I expect him to be somewhere between 700 and 750 OPS next season. So they're just to me, they're just not that high on him. And maybe it's probably because it's only 2 months of the offense. Can he do it for a full season? It's a big prove it season for him. I think he has the talent, and as I think players talk about it a lot, when you know that you're going to get the opportunity, when you know that you're going to play every day, that's a game changer, and it gives you more comfortability going into a year knowing that that's your role, and like you're going to, like, it's your job to be productive there.
It seemed like the light switch was flipped.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We don't know for sure. And that goes with any player, but with a young player, even more so. So had he only had 1 month of that, you'd have been a little leery, right? Like, if it was just the last couple weeks of the season and it was against some bad teams, not plot, he would have held back a little bit. We saw a decent sample size that could be the guy. And he's now had a whole off season to work on the things that he knows he needs to work on. So I'm with you. He's in my top 3. Who else is on your list?
Kyle Tucker. You can go first with him. Didn't you have Kyle Tucker on your list?
Tucker's my number 1. Okay. Tucker's my number 1 at I put him at minus 300. And the reason is they have Tucker at the Zips projection at 4.5 FWAR and hitting, this is the big part that I said, he's exceeding this projection, 23 homers. Now, if you want to tell me you're worried about injuries and that's why he's not going to hit more than 23 homers, I'm circling it saying I want the first 40 homers from the left side.
Are you sure you read that correctly? Because Steamer has him projected.
Maybe I read it wrong.
Steamer
then I have to change the whole thing.
Steamer has him projected to hit 31.
31. Well, that changes everything. I still think I still say he's hitting more than 31. Whether it's 23 or 31, he's hitting more homers than that. I'm circling 40 as my number. I want the first 40 homer guy since D. Lee, and only the second 40 homer guy from the left side in franchise history. Billy Williams.
Maybe I think he can down. Maybe Zips is down on me. It could be. You could have.
Well,
right?
He's coming off an injury season. Am I wrong, Sean?
I have no idea. You know more about Kyle Tucker than I do.
Kyle Tucker, Zips right home run prediction. What was it?
So the Zips production, the Zips prediction was 23, but I think the issue is they're only projecting 524 at bats. They're projecting Swanson and Horner for 600 plus. Tucker in his career
injuries.
So they're factoring in that he was hurt and that he might be hurt again.
But also, I mean, he's surpassed their plate appearance prediction 3 times. So in 2023, 2022, and 2021, he was over the 524 projected. He was at 567, 609, and 674. So if he plays,
right,
he should clear 30.
Yeah. So let it be known, I knew the stats.
You were right.
I knew the numbers. And here's my number 1 thing about why I have him at the top. Not only do I say, wow, if he's healthy, he's going to hit way more than 23, no matter what the wind is doing at Wrigley Field. He is in the biggest contract year of his life. He does not look like a guy who crumbles under pressure. Assuming he's healthy, he's going to have a monster single season this year because it's going to get him the biggest payday, which is just an additional motivator for any player of any professional sport. I'll be stunned if he's not exceeding projections at Wrigley Field this year.
Well, Steamer has him to get 669 plate appearances. So that's the difference, like Sean said. 31 homers, 101 runs driven, or 101 runs scored, 94 RBIs. 277, 367, and a 504 slash line with a 142 WRC plus and a 4.9 Fangraphs WAR. Strikes out 15%.
What did you say was WCR plus was?
142.
Okay, and that's the big difference there, too, because Steamer has it at 142, Zips has it at 129, which still, 29% better than an average MLB hitter, or 40%. Probably, better. That's probably the best since, Bellinger hit 2 years ago.
Sure.
If he is at 129, though, and Evil Wax 73 says, if Tucker doesn't hit more than 23 home runs, then that trade would have been an epic failure. With what we're talking about, with break even and all of this stuff, if he has 129 weighted runs created plus, 25 homers, 25 doubles, and 520 plate appearances, that actually might be best case scenario. He still gives you a pretty decent year.
Yeah.
But in the sense of a contract year, it's not like
Maybe it
Dansby
helps you a little
Swanson
bit.
hitting 40 with Atlanta.
Right.
I don't know.
So
I got to
hit
go
me
with,
your whole list overall. Who's on your list completely?
Well, I haven't even
You haven't unveiled it yet.
I would just say that I put plus 100 because I think that this is I think what they have here is pretty fair. Sure, maybe his defense could help him be a 5 or 6 WAR player on top of his
or 40
offense.
pops.
I think, because considering the ballparks that he played in, Minute Maid Park, a lot different from Wrigley Field. We know how the weather plays there, and as much as I think it's dumb that Jed Hoyer is using it to defend the offense, I don't know how Kyle Tucker will play at Wrigley Field for 81 games. So I think these projections are fair. I don't think that they're going I don't think that they're too high or too low. I think they're even. That's why it's plus 100. So that's why I think that even money, $25 down on it, you win 25. The rest of the list, Sean, you want to show the rest of the list for me? Because I know we have to end the show in 4 minutes. Matthew Boyd, plus 120. They had him to pitch 100 and somewhere close to 140 innings, and that he hasn't done that in a while, and he's coming off an injury. If he can exceed that, then the Cubs are in a good spot. Matt Shaw, they had him as a 2.5 Fangraphs WAR. I think that's an optimistic outlook on him. I hope he does that, but I'm not so sure. He's a rookie. We've seen it go with PCA. Miguel Amaya, they had him, they have him kind of taking a bigger step in 25. I just don't know what to expect. Or I don't think he's as bad as he was the first 3 months of last season, but I think that if he can be more like from July to the end of the year, maybe, just maybe, he can exceed projections. I think they have him at 10 homers, a 102 WRC plus. That's more of what he was from July to the end of the year. If he's like that, then great. I'm just not sure because we haven't seen it. That's why I put it plus 175. Porter Hodge, it's interesting. You put Porter Hodge plus 600 on yours. And the reason that I have
Why are you giving away my list?
Because I have a bone to pick with that. First off,
I actually don't have Porter Hodge on mine.
No, you do. I saw the list. You put Porter Hodge plus 600.
Hey, buddy. That was Patrick's.
Was it Patrick's?
That was Patrick's.
Thank you. Cody's wronged me twice on this show now. Let it be known.
You've wronged me plenty of times.
He's
3
wronged me.
strikes and you're out, buddy.
You have
3
wronged me
strikes
plenty
and
of
you and
times.
Sean are both getting pinch hitters.
I think Collada asked about the penalty box. It's the meeting room in the middle, right here, the glass box.
Falsely accused twice in one show.
My bad. Anyway,
It happens,
Porter
but-
Hodge, I put plus 200
Okay.
because they project him. Fangraphs, Steamers projects him to get 30 saves in 2025. And while I'm optimistic and while I like Porter and he's been on our show and he's a nice guy and I've been watching him post his lifting videos on his Instagram, I need to see it to fully believe it. If Porter Hodge saves 30 games for the Cubs in 2025, this team's going to the playoffs. So, yeah.
And the most likely way that happens is they don't sign a proven closer here.
Exactly.
Which is becoming more and more likely as we go.
And then I put Shota Imanaga at plus 250 because a lot of the numbers for him in 2025, as far as projections, were a lot of the same from last season. And I'm just not so sure that he is going to put up the same type of numbers again, especially if Wrigley Field plays more neutral weather-wise. So that doesn't mean I'm not optimistic about him. Doesn't mean that I'm out on him. Doesn't mean that I don't like him. Just based off projections, I think that he could have some negative regression this year. I hope he proves me wrong.
I think there are a lot of guys that could exceed projections, so that's the good news. I went Tucker, Happ, PCA, Seiya, Michael Busch, Nico Horner. But there's so many guys, whether it's Pearson, Hodge, Merriweather, Little, Ben Brown, like you can go down and say, well, if this happens, this could happen. I did see one thing out of the Zips that was interesting. It had Busch and Shaw both at 2.7 WAR. Real quick, who's more likely to reach that?
Busch.
Well, and I agree.
Defense might play a factor in that, and he plays a position. He plays first base. I don't know how much. I don't know.
I put Busch and Seiya at plus numbers, but I do think there's a real good chance. And Nico, I put at the bottom of the list at plus 450 because I think Nico's Nico. Yeah. And he's going to be potentially injured early on, so I don't know that he's going to exceed projections. We'll just kind of see how it all unfolds.
I think Busch offensively could put him over the top over Shaw there. I don't know what to expect from Shaw. I'm optimistic about him, but like I really, if he gives you what Steamer is projecting for him in 2025, along with a lot of the other things that I read on Steamer in terms of projections, like I feel good about making the playoffs. Based off what they're projecting, and we talked about it way like a month ago when Zips put theirs out. Like Zips loves the Cubs in 2025. They're just projections, but I'm just saying, like, it's interesting. So, All
right, we got to step aside for the Blackhawks, guys. Thanks to everybody for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. And we will see you for our next live show coming up on Monday. Don't forget, Corey and Brendan have the show coming up on Friday at 1:30. Until then, thanks for watching, and a fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.